VC! Welcome. Come on in. Come here. Gather around, everybody. Come on in, VC. Get in close. Welcome into the realm of cosmicness. It's groovy in here. We're gonna have a groovy time. Thread video. Gather in. It's a thread video, everybody. Come on. Get in here. It's gonna be fun. Alright. A guy that I had never heard of until today with a channel. He's got a channel. I think he's got one video. It's called Punk Eye. Sorry, gotta turn it down a little bit. Yeah, the channel's called Punk Eye. I think it's kind of like a takeoff on the word pink eye or whatever. But anyway, yeah. The gentleman's name is Dino. The thread is for like 80s new wave stuff. And I have a ton of that stuff that I don't show a lot of it. I did show some of it that I had during my kind of like power pop thing that I was doing there for a while. But yeah, this is gonna be great. I've got a lot of like 80s new wave stuff I'd like to show off. So, in fact, I didn't even pick out for the questions. I didn't even pick anything out. I just brought like 50 albums down with me, and I'm just gonna dig through them as we go. Look at VC. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be a hot time in the old town tonight. Anyway, we've got, these are all like some of my new wave stuff. Dino, Punk Eye, plays a lot of like obscure on his channel. He has a lot of videos of like playing albums, a lot of obscure like 80s stuff that you don't always hear, like some synth pop, cold wave, power pop, just a lot of stuff that you don't hear, that aren't in your, like, when your commercial compilations come out, you won't hear these names of these bands on those. So anyway, I'm just gonna get right to it because there are quite a few questions. I believe there's like a dozen questions or so, and it's not a contest, it's just a thread. Beth at B-Sides had a video. He sent the tag. Not a thread, a tag, a vinyl tag. God dang it. Get it right, you dummy. Jeez. Still dumb. Anyway, it's not a thread, it's a tag, a vinyl tag. But I guess there's not a whole lot of difference. Why am I still talking about this? Anyway, it's about new wave. It's a new wave tag. The first one is your favorite new wave band of the 80s. That's kind of a toughie, because I liked a lot of bands in the 80s, but I guess if I had to pick, and this is going to be kind of tough too, because everybody's definition of new wave might be different than the other guys, but I'm going with this band. I know you're going to think it's dumb. Where is it? Damn it. See, this is why you should have your shit together. And I don't even know. This is more of a power pop band than a new wave. But I'm going to use it anyway. Because I'm going to, that's why. And that's Cheap Trick. Love Cheap Trick. I think they're more of a power pop group than they are a new wave group. But I think a lot of new wave groups took what Cheap Trick was doing and kind of molded it into their thing. So I'm going to say that they were definitely an influence on new wave. And if this doesn't work, then I will pick up this one because I love this band as well. So, where are you, dick? Right here, The Fix. Now they're more of a new wave, British power pop, synth pop, new wave. And I think I've shown this record before, or I have another one that I've shown also. This has One Thing Leads to Another, Saved by Zero. So those are the two hits off of this, but this is Reach the Beach. And this is a really cool record too. I'd say that's more new wave than Cheap Trick, but you know, that's why I had a backup plan. I always do. How about my favorite subgenre? The second question is favorite subgenre of new wave. So it'd be like your post-punk, your power pop, your synth pop. I'm gonna go with kind of like a synth pop, and it kind of all started with this. I mean, the big stuff started with this guy. Although John Fox from Ultravox, which I don't have an Ultravox album. I do have one coming, the John Fox era Ultravox. But Gary Newman was a huge synth pop icon. And this isn't his breakthrough record. This is the second record after that. But yeah, this is Telecon. The Pleasure Principle has the song you're all probably used to seeing. It had the song In Cars on it. But this one has This Wreckage, and it has I Die, You Die, I Dream of Wires, The Air Crash Bureau. This is my favorite subgenre, and that's synth pop, or synth wave, I guess. Yeah, Gary Newman, Telecon. So yeah, there's that. Favorite 80s record album. And I'm just going to tell you, this wasn't my favorite 80s record album in the 80s. This is my favorite 80s record album now. I've just, you know, I knew all about, I was raised in the Midwest, meaning the smack dab farmland, the Farm Belt, Iowa, in the middle of the country. Didn't get a lot of like underground, like new wave stuff and obscure new wave stuff. So my stuff was more like Flock of Seagulls, Duran Duran, Frankie Goes to Hollywood, The Police. That type of stuff is what I was used to back in what I was exposed to. But as I got older, I discovered more stuff like this. This is Fetus. And this one's called Scraping Fetus Off the Wheel, I guess. I don't know. It's, but this is like a synth wave with a lot of sampling and a lot of just dance stuff, a lot of electronic. I just love it. It's pop. It's got pop sensibility. So I mean, it's got melodies and it's got it's not just noise. It's music, not like say like a Throbbing Gristle or something like that. But it's also just experimental enough to like make it edgy and cool. And I got this not too long ago, and I absolutely love it. It was a double album, and it's the best $25 I ever spent. So, yeah, very cool. Fetus, Scraping Fetus Off the Wheel, hole, whatever that means. But anyway, yeah, this is, if you haven't checked this out, do so. It's amazing. So that's my favorite 80s record album. I know it wasn't then, but it is now. So, favorite new wave artists that I've seen. Again, I probably wouldn't call these two new wave, but I'm going to, for the lack of not having seen a lot of other bands, I am going to use these as my example. Oh, come on, you dick. Alright. Here we go. And I know this is more of a power pop and, you know, more like blue collar, like American power pop. This is Greg Kihn Band. And I seen Greg Kihn Band, you know, he's kicking with the Vans and stuff, like Fast Times at Ridgemont High. He's rocking it. And they've got the skinny ties and the, you know, I mean, you could say they're semi-new wave. I know it's a reach, but Greg Kihn Band, I love it. Jeopardy. It's just a great band. The breakup song, yeah, just a killer 80s band. And I seen them at a festival one year and really liked them, and I've got most of their albums. And I know you're not gonna agree with this, but it was an 80s band, and it was like a punk, more punk than anything, but I did see them in concert, and it is the Ramones. And this record is probably not the record that everybody would go to, but I absolutely love this record. This is the Phil Spector produced record, End of the Century. And I seen them, I believe, at the Lollapalooza concert. That was more in the like 90s than it would be 80s, but this is an 80s record. I mean, this came out in, I believe, 1980 maybe. And yeah, I can't believe that Phil got him to shed the leather jackets and the black t-shirts and the white t-shirts for these colored jobs. But anyway, yeah, the Ramones. No, you're not going to agree with, most people are going to say, oh, that's not new wave. You're right, it's not, but where does it fit in the 80s? Favorite MTV show of the 80s? Well, Dino did say, he mentioned 120 minutes. I associated 120 minutes more with, and if it was the 80s, it must have been the late 80s, because I associate 120 minutes with like your 90s alternative stuff, like Porno for Pyros and stuff like that. But yeah, I loved 120 minutes. I loved Headbangers Ball on MTV. I mean, I watched that pretty goddamn religiously. Being a hair metal guy back in the day in the 80s, that was my thing. So yeah, I'd say probably those two. Also like the game show Remote Control. I don't know if you guys remember that, with Ken Ober and Colin Quinn was his sidekick. That was a great game show. It was kind of a buzz-in thing. You'd sit in a recliner eating snacks and with a TV remote, and you'd buzz in like Jeopardy. And then at the end, you got to look at this pyramid of like music videos, and you had to like name every single one of them to win the grand prize. So yeah, that was pretty cool show. How about Desert Island Records? I couldn't narrow it down to one, and this is what we were listening to at the beginning, by the way, is this Love and Rockets. I love this. Another like Brit band, and they're this is new wave. I don't give a shit what anybody says. But Love and Rockets. The songs on this would be like So Alive, and No Big Deal were the bigger MTV hits, but always liked their album covers too. It always was kind of a black and white and red combination. But yeah, this is pretty minty. It does have a bent corner, but yeah, Love and Rockets. Great record. Let's see, what else? I'd probably take. I love this. This is an '80s like new wave compilation. It's a lot of live stuff. It's called Erg, and it's got groups like The Police, Wall of Voodoo, Toya Wilcox, OMD, Oingo Boingo, XTC, Go-Go's, The Members, Echo and the Bunnymen, The Cramps, Para Ubu, Gary Newman, Flesh Tones, Gang of Four. Yeah, this is chock good. It's got X. So yeah, this would be a good one to have on the desert island if I wanted to get a little variety going. And it's a live record too, so it'd be really cool. So there's that, the Erg. And I really dig this. This is a group called Reflex, and the album's called The Politics of Dancing, and the song is actually The Politics of Dancing too, but Something About You and Praying to the Beat are also great songs on this. Just a really cool 80s dance wave, new wave dance kind of stuff that I really dig. And song most played in the 80s. Let's see, I played the hell out of a couple of songs here. One being Love My Way by the Psychedelic Furs. I think this one has Love My Way on it. Maybe not. Oh, you know what? This doesn't have Love My Way on it. This has The Ghost of You, which I did play quite a lot too, but I do have the Psychedelic Furs Love My Way on another record, and I did listen to the hell out of that song. Oh, I loved it. Whenever I made a mixtape, that song would always end up on it. The Romantics. Again, maybe not so much a new wave as a power pop, but the song would have been Talking in Your Sleep, which is a real goodie, oldie but goodie. So there you go with the Romantics. Walking in LA by the Missing Persons. God, I don't know if this is yeah, it says Walking in LA. This also has the song Words, which I really dug a lot. Played the hell out of that. Probably the one that I played the most of, though. Where's it at, you dirty dog? Where you at, you dirty dog? Oh, here it is. Give it to me one time now. Little Welcome to the Pleasure Dome there. Frankie Goes to Hollywood. Relax. Frankie Say Relax. Don't do it when you want to come. I have no idea what that song is about. I suppose it means when you want to come somewhere, like to go from one place to another. I assume that's what it means. But yeah, when you want to come. Frankie Goes to Hollywood. I'm getting the bang for my buck here. I'm showing a lot of shit. So anyway, song played the most in the 80s. How about moving on to favorite 80s live show? I've seen a few 80s groups, I guess. I think the Police put on a pretty good show, if I remember right, back in the day. Most of the 80s stuff that I went to, though, were headbanger stuff, you know, like metal concerts. So my favorite 80s live shows back then were probably like Motley Crue and Rat and Whitesnake and Metallica and stuff like that. But, you know, I did see, I think I seen the Police. I seen Donnie Iris, who I guess I wouldn't consider him new wave, but he was an 80s guy too. Jay Giles Band, I seen them. That was a good show. So those would be the only ones that come to mind. Favorite hair in the 80s? Well, since I can't use my 80s hairband stuff, I'm gonna go with, let's see if I can find it. Always kind of liked, for the 80s new wave look, was this kind of, it was kind of like a high top fade, but I mean it had it was short on the sides and usually involved a sideburn, but it was long and curly on the top. So kind of like that cat right there in front with the dark hair. I always thought that was a cool look right there. Stray Cats used it. A lot of the new wave group. Look at how tall, dark, and handsome that fella is, though. But anyway, yeah, that's Still Tuesday. Another band that was pretty cool. Amy Mann. Her hair looks pretty cool right there. So yeah, that was probably my favorite 80s hairdo. And check out that's pretty much a mullet right there with a little bit of with a long front there. Front drapes. I don't know what I'm goofing around now. Favorite medium to listen to music? Well, back in the 80s would have been a cassette. I did probably have a few albums that I did listen to back then, but a lot of cassette tapes back then. But right now my favorite medium is definitely vinyl, so that's a no-brainer. Where I'm in the vinyl community, I consider this a vinyl community video, and that's it. Favorite 80s movie soundtrack? Unfortunately, I don't own my favorite 80s movie soundtrack. Again, I loved the Beth at B-Sides when she did this tag today, showed Last American Virgin. I do not have that, but it was a killer. Another one that I don't have is Fast Times at Ridgemont High. I do have one that's kind of similar to that one. It was kind of a knockoff of those 80s movies. This is a Cameron Crowe jam here, though. This one was called The Wildlife, starring Christopher Penn, Leah Thompson, Eric Stoltz was in it, and what the hell is her name? Oh, Leah Thompson, you dummy. And that kid from Weird Science was in it. But yeah, The Wildlife had a lot of music on there by Eddie Van Halen. Also had Bananarama, Van Stevenson, Charlie Sexton. It was kind of a weird soundtrack, but yeah, I liked this movie for sure. It was one of my favorites. Again, not one of the more popular ones like the John Hughes ones. Loved the Valley Girl soundtrack. I don't have it, but I do have a couple of records that have the songs off of that soundtrack. The Plimsouls. The song was A Million Miles Away. Was probably the theme song to the Valley Girl soundtrack. Also, the Waitresses had a song on there. I think it was Johnny, Are You Queer? Maybe it was, am I thinking Fast Times? Which one was Josie Cotton in? I can't remember. But anyway, the Waitresses, Johnny, Are You Queer, I think was the song. Or no, Waitresses were I Know What Boys Like. I'm sorry. Josie Cotton was Johnny Are You Queer, and oh shit, I can't think of the rest of it. Anyway, so those were kind of like my favorite movie soundtracks. But here's another '80s. It's not new wave, but Footloose. Didn't have. I don't think it had any new wave songs on it, but it had lots of pop rock and stuff on it. Kenny Loggins, Bonnie Tyler, Shalimar, Mike Reno, and Ann Wilson, Almost Paradise. But yeah, Footloose, Ren McCormick. So anyway, that's just some of my stuff. I've got a lot more that I'll show eventually in other videos. I've been really into like collecting some obscure new wave stuff, so I know I'll be totally into Dino's channel, the Punk Eye. So yeah, that's my tag. Anybody who's seen this, tag You're It. Try and show some of your new wave stuff from the 80s. Alright, Cosmic Realm is closed for the evening. Get out, move on. Come on, get up, grab your stuff. Grab your stuff and move along, because it's time for Brian to get settle in a little bit, tuck in. You know how Brian likes to get comfy. Get a little comfy, listen to some music and stuff. So yeah, you guys have a great night tonight, man. Have a great day tomorrow. And love your fellow man. Spread joy and peace throughout the world, man. Don't support hate. Don't support hate. And I'm not trying to be political, but don't hate. There's nothing in hate, man. So anyway, I love you guys. Peace out. Brian out of here. Check out Punk Eye, Dino. 80s, new wave, obscure, craziness. Do it.